Flynn Underhill 2020. Sounds impossible, doesn't it? A first-term senator clinching the presidency. Well, it seemed impossible for a young, fresh-faced Democrat from Georgia to take down a four-term Republican incumbent. But like David vanquished Goliath, I loaded up my sling and took the giant down. My ammunition? He ran into my secretary at a gala in Atlanta, and then ran into him again that night in a motel. His constituents were shocked by the pictures, and turned to a much nobler man to take his place. The president is a much bigger giant, however, and requires something a little more refined than the proverbial rock in the sling. Paper should suffice.
Congressman Underhill, your meeting with Secretary Durazo is about to begin.
Thank you, Delilah. Delilah Stafford, my aforementioned secretary. Don't let that innocent veneer fool you. That woman is resilient, ambitious, and most of all, ruthless. A match made in heaven. Well, maybe not heaven.
You've got a meeting with the teachers union at 4 today, sir, and at 5:30 you've got the radio interview about the most recent terror threats.
Cancel them both. I gotta spend the rest of the afternoon putting the finishing touches on the bill. Please give them my sincerest apologies. Oh, wish me luck.
Burns 2 bridges to build another one. That man operates his life at a net loss. He always has. We grew up together, went to the same law school, and even volunteered at the same polling place in 2012. I know him better than anybody else. We agreed that I would be his secretary under the notion that doing so would propel us both in Washington. But ever since I got him elected, the we's have turned into I's, and I'm no longer part of the equation. How can a man be so arrogant and yet so replaceable?
Madam Secretary, it's so good to see you again. How's Charles?
He's fine, just getting used to being a stay-at-home dad.
What the factory did to him was awful. How long did he work there? 17 years? Jesus. Good. Well-paying jobs are hard to find nowadays. That's actually what I wanted to talk with you about.
I hate it when he does this. He always tries to bring out something personal to humanize him or make him more sympathetic. There's nothing human about him. He is Washington personified. Everything is calculated. Now, I'm not being a hypocrite. I did what I had to do to get in this chair. But what I did was out of necessity. A Latin woman does not get here by playing some games that an old white man cooked up. I became an icon by breaking the rules. And this nation has its first Latina in the highest position of power in Washington's history. Between you and me, I think she'll go a little bit further. Did you know that 6 presidents served as Secretary of State before they took office? Maybe in 2020, I'll make it 7.
It's called the Underhill Bill. It's going to revolutionize the way America does trade. Now, it's pretty complicated and it's not quite finished. But the basic idea is that we put a tariff on finished goods while we let raw materials flow right in. Factories are going to flourish. The economy will be revitalized. What I need from you is public support. I'm going to introduce the bill on Friday. I was hoping you put out a statement saying how you agree with the idea of it.
No.
Excuse me?
This bill is far too explosive. I will not be supporting this.
With all due respect, Caroline...
Madam Secretary.
Madam Secretary, we haven't had major trade reform for the past 20 years. President Daniels, if you don't mind me saying, has lost almost all public support because he hasn't gotten anything done. We need to show the American people that the government can still work for them.
Oh, shit. Sorry, Madam Secretary.
It's fine, Paul. Come on in.
Message from the president. He says it's urgent.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you for your time, Madam Secretary. Mr.
Paul Russell.
No dice. She's probably planning a 2020 run. Anything that makes me look good hurts her chances. I need this bill in the national spotlight. It's the only way to propel my name into the voters' minds, and her support is the only way to do that. She will support this bill, whether she wants to or not. Her secretary, Russell, is the way to go. Looks like we're going back to our roots. You doing anything tonight?
No, sir.
Walk with me.
I never had much interest in politics. I was the manager at a factory that Charles DeRozzo worked at. I liked him. We became close friends. He was intelligent, kind, hardworking. He wasn't like other men. He was soft. Little did I know he was married to one of the hardest women in all of Washington. Then time went on. We became friends, and I spent a lot of time with the two of them. Then profit margins started to drop. Once that happened, I had to fire a dozen people, Charles included. Then, before I knew it, I was fired too. Little did I know my managerial skills would lead me to be the secretary of a secretary, much less to the woman married to the man I fired.
What? I like power.
Get these developed by tomorrow morning and make sure they're in her mailbox.
Of course. Congressional mailbox or home?
Home. Make it personal. Hand me that water bottle, will you? Thank you.
Do you need any proofreading on the bill?
Actually, yes. Will you look over Article 18? Thank you. I was writing it while under a pretty late night, and it's probably riddled with misspellings. DeRozzo thinks that she can swat me away like a horsefly in late July, but I'm more than just an annoyance. I'm an unstoppable force, and she is far from an immovable object. Once she sees those pictures, she'll have no choice but to...
Looks like George is gonna need a new senator.